How do you get better at golf? The age-old question.
And in it goes. Hole in one for Homer.
Step one of getting good at golf is, of course, if you can afford it, always finding a coach, because most of the times people are making videos to get as many views as possible and not teaching you the fundamentals in order.
For sure.
Yeah.
They mostly focus on like hot topics, like something fancy, trying to teach
how to
you this
drive
weird
300
technique.
yards,
Yeah,
you know,
like
like
those
that.
Stuff like that. But those are not actually important for beginner golfers. So as a beginner golfer, you need to build a full foundation. So you need to build the most basic stuff, which is your setup, grip, takeaway, and half swing and contact.
As a student, as a beginner who knows nothing about golf, what do I need to look for in this coach? How do I know if they're qualified or
if
not?
this coach is really focused on small detail, that's a good coach. If there's a coach who only work on like big swings and working on the distance, like how to hit the ball far and stuff like that, it's not a good coach. And also if they don't do a video of you when you're swinging, just run.
Step two to getting better at golf is practicing 3 times a week, or how often you practice.
I recommend at least 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah, but there's a difference between practice and good practice, and even bad practice.
Yes.
So if we're practicing 3 times a week, what is the quality in terms of a percentage out of 100% that we need to be practicing at?
Well, depends on the student. If this student doesn't have any fundamentals or doesn't have any motor skill of swinging, have never did any sports using a stick, then for those people, I recommend going 3 times a week and you don't have to hit a perfect shot. Just keep swinging the club until your body understand that swinging motion and build that basic motor skill. Because a lot of people doesn't have that skill, right? Unless you play baseball or unless you play hockey, those are the people who doesn't have to practice that much.
Yeah.
But people who doesn't have that experience, make sure to go to the range, and you don't have to hit a perfect shot. Just keep hitting the ball.
The third thing we need to do to get better at golf is only work on one thing at a time. Because like you tell me all the times, golf has so many different parameters. I would imagine, how many would you say, like 20?
Oh, I don't know, like 100?
100 parameters? No, that's too much. We're not like putting in like this one ligament.
I mean, there's so much muscle in your body and so
Right.
much bones, and
Right.
they all have to move in a sync, right? So there's so many things that you have to think about when you're golfing.
What is considered as one thing, and how broad of one thing should they go to?
Let me show you an example. So if you have an issue with let's start with over backswing. So over backswing is pretty much you're swinging more than what you're capable of, right? So going all the way up here. So if you have an over backswing issue, you shouldn't be focusing on hip turn or focusing on early casting or something other things. You can't. It's hard to combine those two things together while you're hitting a ball. So when you're practicing over backswing, so I pretty much tell my students to just push their arms towards that way, so you can't really go this way.
Yes.
So when you're focusing on one thing, just work on one thing until you actually master this.
Okay, so fixing one thing really helps with everything else.
Not everything.
Okay.
Some part.
It raises everything a little bit.
Yeah, because something like if over backswing is gonna help you not do a reverse spine angle.
Right.
And also it's gonna help you not bend your arm. So because if you bend your arm, you gotta start early casting. So it fixes your early casting.
Right. Our fourth step to getting better at golf is getting the right equipment. And I experienced this especially because when I first started, I was using 50-year-old clubs.
Yes, that was
Yeah, it changed everything.
Yeah.
So the thing about bad equipment versus good equipment, well, from my experience, I would say always start with more forgiving clubs.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Forgiving and bigger head. Yes.
yeah, otherwise you're spending most of your time just shaking it, hitting it, being in pain, and you're not gonna enjoy the sport.
For sure.
But other than that, what type of other things do you focus?
Like newer technology, something like you had was like literally 30 to 40 years old.
Yeah, it was literally a
There
stick.
was no technology on the club. But nowadays they come up with like a lot of technology, like
Right.
hollow design and bigger sweet spot, more explosive off the face. So it's more forgiving. You need to find the club that is something like weight-wise. If you're someone who's very strong, you don't want to have a shaft that is like 30 to 50 grams.
Okay.
You want something like 100 or 130 grams. So it depends on how strong you are. You gotta have your own proper shaft.
So how would someone know what's the right weight of shaft for them?
The one way I know is that when the club is too light, for my student who is very strong, but they have like 70-gram shaft, they're struggling to hit the ground. They usually just top the ball, and they're using a lot of arms when they're swinging.
Right.
So when they start changing their shaft to a bigger club, heavier club, they start feeling the head weight when they're doing a backswing and start hitting the ground more better with their irons. So that's the one thing I noticed after we changed the club.
A fifth step to getting better at golf is not relying purely on feeling, and that's to use video. Because sometimes what you think you're doing something, you're not really doing something.
So feeling and how it actually looks is totally different. So I want you guys to record yourself down the line and also from the front, see how your swing looks. So let me show you an example here. This is your swing last few shots.
Okay.
So it gives you a video analysis of how you swing. But sometimes when you're at the top of the backswing, you might feel like you're at the half swing, but some people are already all the way up here and their arms are bending 90 degrees. And they might think that their hip is turning enough, but their hip might not be turning. So don't rely too much on your feeling. Because you might be in a horrible position.
It's very similar to, like, let's say when we talk and then we hear back our voice. Right? We think our voice certain way, but when we hear back, it's different. So we need to start building this correlation of what we think and what reality is. And I think another advantage of videoing is that, let's say if you're on like social media and you see someone else teaching and you see them, you remember how you did it and you can compare it to them. Whereas if there was no video and you're just remembering the feeling, it's harder to relate to what they're saying visually.
That too.
If you enjoyed this video and want to know everything you need to know about golf from this channel, then make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.